I was asked by several people this week whether I thought the Alabamas and Clemsons on down the line, et cetera, depending on the matchup, would be at a disadvantage during a condensed season and whether we would see more upsets. And I understand the theory there. I understand that perspective. Certainly, if you look at Nick Saban and Urban Meyer, I know that their bowl records, their postseason records, and especially considering the competition that they faced every year, which was typically like top 5 in the country, their postseason records are ridiculous if you really take it into context against who they're facing. Those great coaches, if they've got 6 weeks, can do an amazing job in preparing a team for a postseason game. On the flip side, though, I kind of thought of that and I understood that person's perspective. But on the other hand, I thought, don't the really great coaches with the great systems put in a condensed situation? Wouldn't they have the advantage of being as on top of it as they are and knowing nuts and bolts their roster and what they do and having it down to a T? That I would think that those great programs would actually have maybe an expanded advantage over everybody else. And to that point, John Shields is asking specifically about strength and conditioning at home and maybe having an advantage. But I would think all these people at major programs are certainly have capable people that are instructing their players.
Yeah, and it's a thing. It's going to be interesting to see because it really comes down to like the strength component. I think the conditioning you can do because you can jump rope, you can kind of do some things, you can do some body weight stuff. I mean, hey, maybe you just do push-ups your whole life, like Herschel Walker, who famously never lifted a weight until ever. I don't even know, you know what I mean? And he had that physique that was just chiseled, But yeah, I think it's going to be the strength component, just because especially the stronger guys and those, integral line positions on offense and defense, like to get that kind of strength, you need to push some weights. And everybody doesn't have a squat rack and 700 pounds worth of things, of weights to lift. So it's really going to be that kind of a thing. I have seen that, what's the name? The strength and conditioning coach has been on, they've been posting some stuff on Twitter with some workout stuff. And obviously, like they've given these players PDFs and full workouts already. Obviously, like once you've signed as a high school kid, Miami will send you, or every school will send you, workout stuff. Hey, you should be working on these things. This is the things you should do before you get to campus, wherever that may be, Coral Gables or elsewhere. So, I mean, there is going to be that, but it's really, and it also takes into account the home life situations of all these guys, because everybody doesn't have all that kind of money. Everybody does not have a home gym like that. So it will be really interesting to see how they can get creative. 2 things that I saw just come past in the comments. Yes, Miami missed on Sony Michel. That one did hurt as well, but it didn't hurt. It was a single pain. It wasn't double and triple and quadruple, in that he did not come back and beat Miami every single year like Dalvin Cook did. So that's why I listed Dalvin Cook personally above that. Teddy Bridgewater, I saw that was one that I think was in a comment just before also. That one, yeah, that one right there. Yeah, Teddy Bridgewater, that one hurt too. And again, that's a guy who hurt double because he they blew out Miami in that bowl game that I went to, his last game, where they came out in the fourth quarter up by 35 points and went in formation and then called timeout. And he went to the sideline hyping the whole half of the stadium up because they put him out there. It was like an NBA game where you come out of timeout or off a commercial break and you put everybody out there, and then you call timeout and empty the bench and everything. That's what they did for Teddy Bridgewater after he whooped up on Miami that time. The other one that I know people are going to say now, just because of his meteoric rise, is Lamar Jackson, who is from the South Florida area also. That wasn't really a miss for Miami. And I mean that because Miami had looked elsewhere. It was a miss on the evaluation side, not on the recruiting side, if that makes sense. Because Miami had looked elsewhere for a quarterback in that class. And then late, when things kind of got unsettled, I think that was the Dwayne Lawson year, they ended up circling back to try to kick the tires on Lamar Jackson like a week before signing day or something like that. So it wasn't the same as a Teddy Bridgewater, who had been recruiting since he was a sophomore and playing wide receiver while Ja'Cory Harris was playing quarterback. at Miami Northwestern, and then, was committed to Miami the whole way through, and then was just like, yeah, at the end of the day, Chuck deuces. So the Lamar Jackson comparison, like, you can put him on the list, but the actual impact to Miami's recruiting is negligible just because we did not necessarily recruit him. And now, if you want to have a conversation about why we didn't recruit him or things like that, that's another conversation to be had.